This story takes place in a lively baseball stadium, where every game feels like more than just a match. It follows a young office worker whose exhausting job makes life feel like a constant burden. Though he works hard and performs well, his days leave him drained. But he has a place to escape to, as his eyes light up when a huge baseball stadium comes into view. To him, there are many ways to enjoy the same game. Sometimes he likes to watch while surrounded by loud fans who cheer nonstop. Other times he prefers to sit quietly in any empty seat and relax. At present, a voice keeps interrupting him. He realizes too late that someone is talking to him. Standing in front of him is a cute young beer vendor, waiting for his reply. After a short pause, he decides that a beer sounds fine. As he places the order, his thoughts quietly apologize for the delay. The order goes smoothly as she pours the drink and tells him the price. When the glass reaches his hands, he notices that the beer looks much more bubbly than usual. The girl suddenly jokes that more bubbles mean more alcohol and calls it a win-win. He cannot believe such a silly idea and thinks he has heard that nonsense 1,000 times as he takes the glass from her. She teases him for taking the joke too seriously and even sits down beside him, which surprises him. She starts talking about how badly equipped beer vendors are, comparing herself to a real-life video game hero carrying a heavy bag of supplies, like Mario, but with beer. He realizes she manages many tasks at once, climbing stairs and selling hundreds of cups in a single game, which sounds exhausting. He finds her very talkative and wonders if she is the only girl working here. As she keeps speaking about how success is possible but not easy, he nods and notices her confidence, understanding that being cute alone is not enough. She blushes and denies ever calling herself cute, which surprises him again, while secretly she thinks he is her type too. He states that he is only following the usual flow of such conversations. When a player hits the ball and the crowd erupts, he stays quiet as always. She asks if he usually cheers with the crowd, and he pauses to think about his answer. He feels like just a stranger who does not need to get involved. She tells him he is too cynical, suggests he try again later, then leans in to whisper something in his ear before wishing him good luck. He is clearly not ready for this kind of interaction, and her words make him so nervous that he starts sweating. He thanks her for her hard work. As she picks up her bag to start selling again, he wonders if he is being rude or just overthinking everything, and she tells him the players can surely feel his support. Just as she is about to leave, he stops her and asks for another beer. She teases him by asking if he wants her to stay, and he suddenly notices her name written on her shirt. He does not fully understand what is happening and watches as she thanks him and promises to do her best. She blushes quietly, thinking about how nerve-wracking it is to talk to a guy. She remembers that her seniors encourage her to talk to customers, even though her voice might be shaking. Meanwhile, holding beers in both hands, he wishes he could be as positive and confident as she is, since he barely talks to anyone outside of work. On the other hand, Ruriko realizes that simply talking to someone like this is a big step for her. She decides to celebrate with a beer in her own small way, but then remembers he cannot drink right now. Her brain switches to sneaking back to the locker room, but it's impossible, and she accepts that there is no way he can pull it off. The scene shifts as the pro-idiot stands in the stadium again. He thinks he doesn't like the term third place, but that is precisely what the ballpark is to him. He reflects on what he loves about night games, especially the Mega Ultra Bento they sell for 800 yen. Big brain energy, thinking about bento like it's a life plan. He decides that this is what today is all about, since dinner is already done, and he only has chocolate for lunch. Snack King strikes again. As he stays deeply invested in his thoughts and enjoys the stadium, a familiar voice suddenly pulls his attention back. He reacts a little late, realizing it is the same cutie standing in front of him again. She questions what kind of homeless person eats lunch without having a beer, and he immediately recognizes Ruriko as the vendor from before. He tries to eat his food while awkwardly greeting her. She points out that 5 days have already passed and encourages him to have another beer for 700 yen. He thinks her salesmanship has definitely improved as he accepts the drink she pours. He enjoys the beer and realizes it tastes better than the last one, noting that beer and bento go together like macaroni and cheese. She is proud and talks about how the way she pours the beer affects the flavor, saying she has been practicing at home and that the difference is obvious. He thinks he had no idea. She blushes and assumes he is the only one who likes her that much, asking why he likes her so much. He is not sure whether he should say it, but he notices how happy she looks. She suddenly brags confidently, telling him to call her when he wants another one. He nods and thanks her, watching her walk away. He knows she is not the type to sit down and rest, and expecting her to do so is pointless. A moment later, left fielder Koji Kuchi steps onto the field. He recognizes him immediately, the veteran with over 200 home runs and a WRC plus above 120. The player who chose this team over free agency 2 years ago. Big swing energy, small brain panic. As the thought fades, his focus drifts again. He starts looking for Ruriko and notices he is almost out of beer. Spotting another vendor nearby, he casually waves her over, already bracing himself for teasing, even though she is not just some random seller. Almost instantly, Ruriko appears behind him. Calling him Big Brother, she announces that she is here to save the day and assumes he was looking for her. He awkwardly denies it, then half admits the truth, only to get teased anyway. She points out that he nearly gave up and tried to buy from someone else, as if she had read his mind. She mentions that vendors rely on regular customers. To him, that sounds like a lot of pressure. He shrugs and claims he does not care who he buys beer from, though deep down, he knows he is terrible at handling this kind of situation. Ruriko laughs, while he watches another vendor working nearby. Polite smiles, quick exchanges, simple thank yous. NPC behavior, always polite. Then she suddenly asks if he likes the easygoing type. He quickly denies it, but she seems to reach a conclusion anyway. With confidence, she declares that he must have a thing for ponytails. Dramatically, she ties her hair up like a heroine in a movie. He is left speechless, wondering why he fell for her in the first place and what is even happening anymore. She laughs at his stunned expression, and he feels strangely flustered. Saying she will see him next time, she starts to leave. He promises to buy from her again, and she teases him for already acting like a regular. There is nothing he can do about it, she adds, since she will definitely see him again soon. As she walks away, he feels slightly dizzy. The beer seems stronger than usual, even without food. Maybe it has something to do with the way she poured it. She did mention she has been practicing. Meanwhile, Ruriko catches her reflection in a mirror and smiles. She feels proud of gaining her first regular customer and realizes she enjoys this more than she expected. The scene shifts to a stylish woman on a train. Yuki Takino, she is 39 years old. The 5 p.m. The Keio line always drives her crazy. The train is packed like the hottest concert in town. As it approaches the next station, even more people squeeze in. She glares at the crowd, people she cannot stand. Some have bags sticking out in every direction. Others wear large hats and full team uniforms. One man even taps out a beat with his hands. Everywhere she looks, there are baseball fans. It makes her sick. What a pain. Her eyes land on a girl reading a newspaper. Ruriko. The article mentions Iwakawa trying a new pitching form and getting 3 consecutive HQs. Then Takino notices that the same Gyaru from the train is reading a kid's newspaper. No wonder there are so many baseball fans, she thinks. This whole train feels like a fan club. Ironically, she is heading to the ballpark herself, though for a much deeper reason. At the stadium, she wears a Kojiro uniform while the crowd cheers loudly. She observes that most young women support Shishio. Kojiro, on the other hand, is not popular with the ladies. Deciding to relax, she chooses to buy a beer. She calls out to a nearby vendor. Ruriko responds right away. Takino is surprised to realize that the Gyaru from the train is actually selling beer here. Ruriko notices Takino's uniform and recognizes it as Kojiro's. Takino proudly says she is a Kojiro fan too. He is a gem, even if no one seems to appreciate him. Ruriko comments that it is rare to see a young woman wearing his uniform these days. Takino thinks about why she likes Kojiro so much. She struggles to put it into words. Then she reminds herself of the truth. She is Kojiro's wife. Being married does not stop him from playing. Kojiro steps up for his second at-bat with a runner on second and 2 outs. It is about time, she thinks, wondering why they have not substituted him yet. Behind her, a group of men gossip loudly. They mock his .200 batting average and doubt he will ever become a slugger. They even question whether he can make a living after retirement. Takino loses patience. She turns around and demands to know what kind of fan ignores a player's strengths. The men insist they are only stating facts. She snaps back that she will clap for Kojiro no matter what. What kind of fans are they, she wonders. Ruriko probably agrees. Ruriko then mentions that Kojiro's WRC plus is 120. Takino is surprised. Maybe his career is not over after all. Moments later, Kojiro swings, and the stadium explodes as he hits a 3-run home run. Takino apologizes to Ruriko for getting heated and offers to buy another drink. Ruriko declines and wishes her a good day. In reality, our gal doesn't know what exactly WRC is. Later, she hears that it has even risen above 200. Maybe he really is not finished yet. After the game, Takino leaves the stadium while talking on the phone. She says she will be busy and proudly mentions the 120 WRC+. She thanks the person on the line. It has been a while since she sat in general admission. Using her official seat to type messages would have been awkward, but sometimes these things happen. Meanwhile, Ruriko relaxes in the staff room. A coworker notices she is reading the sports journal and asks what the strangest thing she has found is. After all, a vendor should know a lot about baseball. Ruriko smiles and says it is very interesting. Her colleague grabs the paper from her hands, then shouts in surprise. It is not serious analysis at all, but a 4-panel comic strip. 90 minutes before the game at Chiba's Motorsun Stadium, the 3 salesgirls change into their uniforms and chat while getting ready. One admits she still struggles to convince customers to buy from her. She asks Aona what to do when someone requests her contact information. Aona, a college senior, suggests sharing an Instagram account instead. That way, she can gain followers and maybe turn those followers into customers. Kohinata, an office worker with 10 years of experience, adds that it is not just about increasing follower numbers. Another girl mentions that posting photos of impressive meals can help start conversations with regulars. Ruriko, who has only been working for a week, listens quietly. It seems like everyone gets hit on all the time. The topic shifts to a rumor that Aona might be dating Umatsu-san, one of the checkers. Ruriko watches them laugh and gossip about flirting, food quality, and oversized portions. Suddenly, one of the girls asks Ruriko if she has dealt with any overly persistent customers. She laughs, remembering a guy who kept hitting on her recently. Everyone has their own way of showing support, she thinks, even if it can be exhausting. As they head out, the girls remind Ruriko to share her account later and stay active on Instagram. Left alone, she checks her phone and realizes she does not even know how to create an account. Time to learn how to be Insta-famous. Soon after, the staff meeting begins. The manager reminds them that incidents involving 333 danger-level customers, those who linger and harass staff, have increased. He firmly warns them never to share personal information as it could lead to stalking. Checkers will patrol more often to ensure everyone's safety. He suddenly glares at Ruriko and tells her to stop playing with her smartphone. She quickly straightens up. Yes, sir. No personal information, she tells herself, though she still has no idea how to sign up for Instagram. Later, the stadium fills with cheering fans. Some shout that baseball stadiums are the best and wonder which salesgirl they will see today. Ruriko watches them and wonders what a 333 danger level customer looks like. When a group calls her over, she serves 3 beers for 2,100 yen. She ignores their attempts to flirt and focuses on remembering one rule: no personal information. One persistent man keeps asking for her phone number, where she lives, whether she is a college student, and if she has relatives nearby. She avoids every question. The only thing she mentions is that her grandfather, Hideaki, called her yesterday. Eventually, someone asks for her Instagram. She panics and blurts out that she does not know how to register. Then she promises that anyone who teaches her will become her #1 follower. The group helps her set up the account, but she struggles with the authentication code and grumbles in frustration. A nearby spectator watches the whole scene and thinks another entertaining character has appeared. A baseball stadium really is a place where you never get bored. Later, back in the staff room, everyone gathers around as Ruriko suddenly goes viral. A mischievous fan has posted a photo of her online, captioning it as the girl desperately trying to make friends, instantly making her famous. Well, looks like she's famous now, but for all the wrong reasons. At Motorsun Stadium in Chiba, another personality is deeply invested in his thoughts. Hot days, windy days, and even game days, the scene is always the same, a routine that never changes. Ryuichi Igarashi, a stadium security officer with 30 years of experience, stands at his post as guys enter the stadium, greeting them with excitement. He watches the players, Kojiro and Brian, wishing them good luck today. A new salesgirl arrives and comments on the heat, and he notes they'll probably sell a lot of beer. At one point, a cat tries to sneak into the stadium, and he catches it without missing a beat. Later, his coworker arrives and tells him it's time for a break, and the new guy is free to go as well. Sitting in the staff room, Igarashi reflects that it's a slow day. He overhears coworkers saying they applied for the job because they like watching baseball and maybe getting autographs from players, but he can't understand how anyone could keep doing the same thing over and over for so long. Man, they must really love the game, or just really like the snacks. His friend whispers that his voice is too loud, while someone else reminds them to check their next placement and scolds them for eating candy on the job. The loud-speaking lad admits that he feels faint whenever he doesn't get enough sugar. Igarashi just shakes his head, observing the chaos of everyday stadium life. Meanwhile, Ruriko continues her usual rounds, asking if anyone would like a glass of hyper dry. Suddenly, a tiny girl tugs on her dress. Confused, she looks down as the child stammers through tears. Her name is Miku. She is 4 years old, lost, and looking for her mom and dad. Ruriko quickly picks her up. It is unfortunate that her pay depends on drinks sold, she thinks, but this kid is a VIP now. Carrying Miku, she searches for the parents and calls Igarashi for help. Igarashi arrives, muttering that small children always get lost. He wonders what kind of parents bring kids to a stadium. Somehow, he always ends up on kid patrol. Ruriko scolds him for complaining. If the child grows up hating the ballpark, she warns, it will be his fault. First impressions at 4 years old can last a lifetime. Igarashi grumbles that this is a lot of responsibility for a security guard. Still, he offers Miku some candy to calm her down. She accepts it with teary eyes, finally stops crying, and thanks him. The moment feels strangely familiar to him. He gently assures her that everything will be fine and that her parents will arrive soon. Nearby, a young staff member watches the scene. He remembers getting lost at this same stadium as a child. Back then, Igarashi gave him candy too. Quietly, he thanks him in his heart. Soon, Miku's parents rush over, calling her name. They apologize repeatedly and hug her tightly. The young worker smiles, thinking she probably treated the whole thing like a game. At least she is safe. Her parents thank Igarashi before leaving, promising to visit again. After the game ends and the stadium begins to empty, the young worker approaches Igarashi. He admits that he was once the child who got lost and received candy. He also apologizes for previously mocking the job of a security officer. Igarashi nods in recognition. So that little kid now works at the stadium. No matter how much time passes, some scenes never change. And thankfully, the boy never grew to hate the place. Some things staying the same is not so bad. Outside the room, other staff members listen to the story and grow emotional. They comment that the new girl has a surprisingly soft side. Who would have thought? Even the beer queen has a weak spot. Ruriko wipes away her tears. When someone offers her a napkin, she refuses. She insists she can handle it herself and says it would not look professional for others to see her cry. She's a tough cookie, no tears in public. The scene shifts to another girl on duty, Yamada Natsuno, recalling her 3rd year of high school when a friend took her to the baseball park. She remembers being completely mesmerized by a beer salesgirl with a sparkling smile, a flower clipped to her hair, and a cute uniform. She almost looked like an idol. Now, Yamada works at the stadium too, giving bento to clients, wearing a bandana instead of a flower, and silently wondering how she ended up here. She watches Ruriko walk by and thinks about how much she wants a uniform like that, one that lets her confidently show her legs. Still, she struggles with her self-consciousness. A customer steps up and orders a Mega Ultra bento. She quickly hands it over, thanks him, and moves on to the next orders. She serves braised pork belly, a nori bento, and even adds an extra pair of chopsticks. 2 years passed in the same routine. No one ever seems to notice Yamada Natsuno's self-proclaimed beautiful legs. She finishes another sale, hands back 300 yen in change, and continues working, quietly holding on to her small ambitions. Another coworker praises Yamada-chan, saying she sold many bentos today. She thanks them, thinking she finally got a moment to rest with their help. After the score ties in the 5th inning, customers flood the bento stand, and her coworker comments that Shishio is on fire today. Then the manager approaches, noticing her expression, and asks if she's okay. Yamada nods, pretending it's nothing, while internally thinking that contract renewals shouldn't just be for baseball players. The manager surprises her by announcing a 100 yen hourly raise, praising her energetic work, and she internally squeals, feeling both grateful and foolishly overworked. Suddenly, another customer approaches none other than the clueless MC. He asks if she still has fried chicken, and she hands it over, thanking him as she thinks about how he just seems to appear everywhere. This guy must have a radar for fried chicken. He notices she looks a bit down and asks if she's okay, which makes her panic internally and leaves her flustered. As he walks away, he thanks her for the food. Internally, she feels like he just looked like a prince and corrects herself. Her manager asks Yamada if she's really okay, noticing how exhausted she looks. She admits that there were multiple customers today, so she might be a bit burnt out. He reassures her that, no matter the job, each employee has a best fit position, just like baseball players, and adds that a raise comes with it. Then he surprises her. She's being entrusted with the role of lead employee. Yamada is shocked, squealing internally, feeling as if she's in heaven. Carrying huge trays, she thinks about her college life, wearing a bandana and long pants instead of a flower, or showing her legs, but smiling nonetheless. Just then, the same little girl who got lost comes by with her parents, waving happily and shouting that she ate all the bento. Yamada smiles, a quiet sense of happiness washing over her. She tells herself she'll keep trying, even without a flower in her hair or the confidence to show her legs. Her manager calls out that they'll be hiring new graduates next year. Yamada nods, ready to face whatever comes next. At the baseball stadium, Dennis Young, a 27-year-old player from Chicago, sits on the couch scrolling through his phone. He watches a video of his parents eating pizza and quietly wonders if they are doing okay. Japan feels humid. The pizzas are too small. The constant talk about the psychology of baseball is hard for him to follow. He thinks about next season and vows to return to the major leagues. A former major leaguer, Dennis has no idea that today will be important. His helper approaches and reminds him that it is his turn at bat. The helper adds that while performance matters, loving the team is just as important. Dennis scoffs inwardly. That advice might suit players planning long careers in Japan. Besides, he is holding a bat, not a samurai sword. Out in the stands, Ruriko serves beer as fans gossip about the new foreign player stepping up to bat. Dennis misses the second pitch. The count becomes 1 ball and 1 strike. Some spectators call him promising, others label him a mediocre bench warmer, valued only by scouts and detached from the team. He swings again and strikes out. Staring at the crowd, he wonders if the murmurs are about him or if somehow they heard his private doubts. The tension and whispers leave him unsettled and confused. Ruriko leans forward, offering snacks to the crowd. One man takes a single snack, while another comments on how skilled she has become at her work. Yet no one realizes that the player has exceptional focus and 2.0 vision. It isn't a scout or a critical fan who catches his attention, but the salesgirl herself. Dennis notices her beauty and feels a blush rise, but he misses the pitch and strikes out. He slams the bat against his head, frustrated, trying to regain focus. Remembering that a major league scout is watching, the announcer calls him up again, number 4, third baseman, Dennis Young. With a runner on first, a home run could turn the game around. When the runner steals, Dennis internally grumbles, struggling to concentrate on his batting. Surprisingly, he doesn't get angry. Instead, he smiles. Though his focus isn't on the fans, it's on Ruriko, who interacts naturally with children in the stands. The crowd notices her name being called repeatedly, and Dennis can't help thinking she is beautiful. Observers begin to realize that it is the salesgirl, not the base runner, who has influenced his focus. He seems more comfortable, yet a pop fly to the catcher quickly reminds him that the game is far from over. Dennis sits at the front of the bench, quietly taking in the stadium, while nearby men gossip about whether his dedication to the team is finally showing. His thoughts drift to the beautiful girl in the stands, wondering if she is watching. With the score tied in the 7th inning, 2 outs, and the bases loaded, it is his turn at bat. A single hit could give the Motor Sons the lead, presenting a massive opportunity. Dennis panics internally, realizing he hasn't been able to concentrate all day in front of the major league scout. He knows he cannot show such a weak performance and feels the pressure to deliver something impressive. The infield defense is strong, yet he pushes forward, uncertain if he can succeed. A short ground ball lands, and he doubts if this is all he can manage. Then, his eyes catch Ruriko tying her hair, and everything changes. Determined, he runs, but his foot catches, and he falls, fighting alone in a foreign country. Despite the stumble, it feels as if fate has not abandoned him. The crowd erupts with excitement as he slides head first, securing a crucial point. Cheers fill the stadium, celebrating the grit of a player once ridiculed as the Iron Mask. Dennis discovers that Japan is not so bad after all, and feels gratitude toward the girl who inspired him. The next day, newspapers highlight the moment, declaring that the goddess of baseball has arrived in Japan and that Dennis Young will remain for another season. Ruriko reads the article, blushing, admiring the photograph, and feeling a rush of youthful excitement. At the ballpark, the salesgirls move with clockwork precision, replacing beer kegs at their designated spot known as the base. In pairs, checkers and vendors coordinate to switch out a keg, their movement so swift and efficient that it resembles an F1 pit stop. Fans at some stadiums can watch the process unfold, and seeing it elicits enthusiastic cheers for the team. Ruriko supervises the operation, ensuring the replacements go smoothly. One of the boys notices the pace today seems faster than usual, and she acknowledges it with a small smile. Another salesgirl, determined to hit her target of 150 cups, energetically rallies, though Ruriko feels the goal is impossible and has little energy to join in the cheer. In the audience, our young, attentive observer enjoys his meal while keeping an eye on the game. Dennis Young is at bat, showing remarkable persistence with 8 consecutive foul balls. Typically, his walk rate is low, and he doesn't force many pitches, but today he's challenging the pitcher with sheer determination. Now that he has declared his intention to stay, even casual observers acknowledge he can no longer be dismissed as fast food man. Meanwhile, Murata's manager contacts him with a message about a system design project, noting that the deadline has been moved up and he needs to handle it promptly. The boy is momentarily distracted when Ruriko appears and teases him playfully. Flustered, he apologizes for the lapse in attention, and she treats him with a mix of friendliness and light-hearted guidance, hinting that she has some encouragement to lift his spirits. He is taken aback by Ruriko's playful energy. She encourages him to join in, raising her hand and cheerfully mimicking a celebratory hip, hip, hooray. But he hesitates, claiming he is too old to participate. Undeterred, she jokes about charging an encouragement fee, teasing him that it should feel as good as a beer, and laughs when he stumbles over his words. Nearby, a couple of passers-by comment on how cute the salesgirls are, debating whether trying it themselves would be too sketchy or like a nightlife job. Ruriko overhears them, her expression suddenly serious, and he notices her sitting with an almost theatrical deadpan. He tries to intervene, feeling annoyed at the disrespect implied in the conversation, knowing that every job has unseen difficulties. Ruriko teases him. She turns the situation into playful banter and asserts her presence, leaving him flustered and mentally conceding defeat once more. Turning back to the game, he focuses through his telescope on the 8th inning. The team is down by 7 runs with no runners on base, appearing to face a loss, yet he notices subtle signs of resilience. The catcher, Kawamatsu, exchanging a fist bump with a teammate. That small gesture tells him the players haven't given up. Observing their determination, he resolves to keep believing in them too, recognizing that the fight on the field is far from over. His view through the telescope suddenly blurs, and there she is again. Ruriko, somehow appearing right in his line of sight, impossible to ignore. She looks flustered, yet playful, clearly worn out from the slow sails since the team started losing in the 5th inning. Despite her boredom, a spark of resolve radiates from her posture. He can't resist requesting just a single cup of beer. She hesitates, insisting it isn't necessary, but he persists, partly to thank her for lifting his spirits moments ago, partly because he has noticed her consistent effort. Nearby, her manager encourages her to aim for 150 cups. She considers it impossible, yet mutters the target anyway, determined to try. Watching her chase the goal so seriously makes him realize how much effort she puts into her work, even when it seems overwhelming. She hands him the beer, teases him, and quickly departs, leaving him embarrassed and amused. Her playful energy lingers in his mind. Ruriko's cheeks flush like a ripe tomato as she departs, a mix of pride and self-consciousness on her face, while her manager praises her for hitting the 150-cup target. He mentally notes that tomorrow will require an earlier start to reorganize his schedule, still replaying her cheerful hip hip hooray in his head. The scene captures both her relentless drive and infectious teasing charm, leaving him quietly in awe. The scene shifts to our MC, fully absorbed in tracking the match information. The Motor Suns slump again, suffering 3 straight losses. Moshimoto hangs his head as the team gives up a game-ending home run. He feels the weight of defeat and doubts their ability to win. Compliments for the Motor Suns are difficult to give these days, yet he knows baseball is more than wins and losses. He wonders if he can even make it to the ballpark today, but the team is deeply loved by its fans. They say love hurts, but this team, oof. Their mascot, Sunshiro, embodies that devotion. After the game, the giant sunfish joins fans in cleaning the seats, a small but comforting reminder of the team's spirit. Sunfish cleaning up? Who knew fish were so tidy? Later, at 2:30 p.m., the Motor Suns begin pre-game batting practice. The team kicks the ball with heroic precision. Kojiro steps up and struggles, unable to hit the ball as far as he could last year. His hits curve awkwardly, reminding him of the natural feel he once had. Frustration builds. He cannot accept his current form. Sunshiro settles nearby, offering silent encouragement. Kojiro envies the mascot's ever-present smile. The pressure weighs on him more heavily than expected. He reflects on his career and his intention to move forward without regret, admitting he feels exhausted, afraid of becoming useless, and burdened by pride. The mascot gives him a handwritten note with advice on his swing. He studies it carefully, seeing how small cracks in his form have affected him more than he thought. He laughs quietly at the unexpected guidance and resolves to put it into practice immediately. As he focuses, he notices movement behind him and becomes curious about who might be inside the mascot suit, a small mystery amid his preparations. Earlier, at 5:40 p.m., just before the game, Dennis arrived at the stadium. He notices Sunshiro struggling a bit with the costume and wonders whether the mascot can dance easily. The mascot reassures him in writing, explaining it isn't overweight, just chubby, and adds that it ate too much pizza out of happiness that Dennis stayed in Japan. Dennis is momentarily stunned, then elated, imagining treating the mascot to some Chicago-style pizza someday, realizing the person inside the suit can actually speak English. The practice match begins, filling the stadium with energy. By 7:30 p.m. in the concourse, Natsuno finds a brief moment of calm. She breathes deeply, reminding herself that falling for a customer is a bad idea, and refocusing on her work. A fleeting thought about her prince makes her sigh, but she shakes it off to stay grounded. Sunshiro appears nearby, and she notices the mascot for the first time. Brushing it off as talking to herself, she is caught off guard when a note handed by the mascot. She feels a stir of emotion at the quiet confidence behind it. At 8:05 p.m. on the second-floor seating aisle, Ruriko slumps against the wall, the heaviest beer bag weighing on her shoulders. She feels utterly drained, doubting if the 150 cups she sold the other day were a fluke. Today, she only wants to go home, relax, and take a bath. Sunshiro appears again, silently observing, and leaves another note reminding her not to slack off. Ruriko protests, claiming she is just taking a short break. The mascot writes again, emphasizing gratitude toward the customers. Flustered, Ruriko groans and shouts at the unexpected guidance. Another note asks if she has eaten, and she snaps at it. The mascot reassures her, offering help whenever things get tough. Ruriko mutters, "Mom," realizing too late what she just said. Her face heats as embarrassment floods her. She wonders briefly if anyone noticed, caught between irritation, fatigue, and a hint of warmth at the mascot's quiet, persistent care. During the match, Sunshiro moves through the stadium, interacting with fans and keeping spirits high. Suddenly, a batted ball veers toward a little girl standing in front of the mascot. In one swift motion, Sunshiro catches the ball, saving her from danger. The crowd erupts with cheers, praising the mascot's reflexes and bravery. The little girl beams, reaching for the ball and expressing her amazement and gratitude while asking playful questions. The mascot gestures for her to stay quiet and not tell anyone. Later, at 9:15 p.m. in the salesgirl's changing room, Ruriko speaks on the phone with her mother. She sounds slightly flustered as she apologizes for the sudden call and asks a question. Her mother reacts with surprise, learning Ruriko has started working part-time. Bracing herself for disapproval, Ruriko continues, determined to explain her choice.
Here I am.